Have you ever wondered, am I really better off alone? Maybe you've been in a relationship for decades and feel like something isn't right anymore. Or maybe you've been single for years, but now people are starting to say things like, at this age, aren't you afraid of being lonely? Don't you think you need someone to grow old with? But what if being single after 60 wasn't something to be feared, but something to be considered purposeful? What if it actually has benefits that no one warned you about today? We're exploring 7 surprising truths about being single as you age, truths that may change the way you think about aging, relationships, and independence. The point here is not to push you toward or away from something. We're not here to criticize marriage or glorify loneliness. We are here to tell the truth. The silent truth that many people over 60 know deep down. Sometimes, having your own space, your own voice, and your own peace can be healthier than staying in a relationship that no longer works. So if you ever feel uncertain, if you ever quietly ask yourself, is this still right for me? You are not alone, and this video is for you. Truth 1, emotional energy is not infinite. As we age, something subtle yet powerful begins to change. Not just our joints or our habits, it's our emotional bandwidth, our ability to handle stress, conflict, and constant compromise. And here's the truth that no one tells you when you're in your 40s or 50s. After age 60, emotional energy becomes one of your most valuable resources. You can't get much better than that. You'll protect it better if you're lucky. But here's the thing. Many relationships, especially long-term ones, silently drain this emotional energy. It's not that someone is evil or toxic. It's that sometimes 2 people grow in different directions and no one says anything. Meet Carol and Thomas, 43 years together. Carol, 68 lives just outside Atlanta. She has been married to Thomas since they were 25. They raised 2 children, built a home, and supported each other through difficult times. But now what they hardly spoke. We don't fight, she said. We just coexist. Same routine, same silence. I make breakfast. He reads the paper. We sleep in the same bed but haven't really shared anything meaningful in years. Carol was not angry. She is tired. Tired of tiptoeing. Tired of avoiding conversations. Tired of putting your own needs first. I used to think love meant compromise, she said. But now I wonder if it just means being invisible. Why emotional energy is more important. After 60, when you're young, you can get over emotional conflicts and argument, and imbalance. But what about after 60? Your nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress. Sleep becomes more fragile. Recovery from emotional stress takes longer. And the risks of chronic stress, from high blood pressure to weakened immunity, aren't just unpleasant, they're life-threatening. Studies show that chronic stress in older adults can increase the risk of cardiovascular problems, anxiety, and even cognitive decline. In fact, a study published in Psychology and Aging found that older adults in emotionally distant or conflicted relationships had significantly lower life satisfaction and weaker immune responses than their single peers who reported being emotionally well off. Bottom line, having a partner doesn't always mean being healthier. Sometimes it means you have to constantly negotiate peace quietly. Single, easier feelings. Now let's look at Linda. She is 70 years old, divorced in her mid-50s. At that time, she thought she would remarry, but she never did. I felt embarrassed at first. She admits, people asked me if I was lonely, but honestly, I've never felt more awake. Linda says her days are quiet but rich. She reads, walks her dog, sees her grandchildren, and has a weekly lunch date with two other women in her apartment complex, both of whom are single. Nothing dramatic, she said with a grin. It's the gift that no one talks about. Linda still dates occasionally, but she is no longer looking for someone to take on that role. She is protecting her energy rather than radiating it unconsciously. Here is a simple truth. Every relationship takes energy. Some extras for you, other people drain you. And after age 60, the difference becomes much more obvious. So ask yourself, do you feel lighter or heavier after spending time with your lover? Do you regularly screen your words and be careful? Do you have to explain too much, apologize often, or hide your true feelings? This is no small matter. They are daily withdrawals from your emotional bank account. And after retirement, when time slows down and distractions disappear, those motivations become even greater. What does peace really look like? Peace in your 60s and beyond doesn't mean isolation. It means getting rid of unnecessary stress. It means you are no longer afraid to walk into the living room. You don't mind passive-aggressive comments. You don't feel the need to escape from your own home. Many older adults share that they feel such peace when they choose to live alone, date lightly, or restructure their relationships in a clear way. The point is not to push love away. It is important that you understand that your health is really important. Things you can do, even if you're still in a relationship. Maybe you're not ready to leave your relationship. That's okay. The issue here is not a black and white choice. Here are 3 small ways to start protecting your emotional energy right now. Check yourself daily before responding to your partner's needs. Ask, what do I need today? Even small acts of self-preservation help reestablish long-standing habits. Create a room of your own. A real space, even just a chair, a corner that is yours. Sacred, quiet. A place to be that doesn't have to be adjusted for anyone else. Say one thing honestly every day. It could be as simple as, I'd like some private time this afternoon. Emotional intelligence often begins with a sentence. Let's take a moment here. Think about this past week. Are there moments, even small ones, where you feel drained just by someone's presence or the moment you're alone, and you actually feel okay? If so, you are not cold. You are alert to your needs. Leave a comment below and type, "Chapter protect my peace," if this means anything to you. No need to explain anything, just a slight nod of understanding. We're going to explore something that many people don't like to admit. Staying in the wrong relationship can actually shorten your life. That's right. In addition to the emotional exhaustion, there are real physical risks associated with unhappy relationships in old age. We will look at the potential health effects of relationship stress, the science behind silent stress, and why being single might be the healthiest choice some people have ever made. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next part. And more importantly, give yourself a pat on the back for making it this far. You don't choose loneliness. You are choosing perception. Truth 2, the wrong relationship can be harmful to your health. We often think of unhealthy relationships as a young person's problem, full of drama, jealousy, or chaos. But the truth is, negative motivation doesn't always sound so loud. Sometimes they are silent, schedule, unnoticed. And what about those silent stresses after 60? They don't just steal your peace of mind. They can slowly harm your health in ways you never expected. John and Elaine, automatic relationship. John is 73 years old. Elaine is 70 years old. They've been together for over 40 years. No major arguments, no scandals. From the outside, they seem like the perfect couple in their old age. But here's what you don't see. John has not felt emotionally attached to Elaine for over a decade. Elaine had to be very alert to his mood swings. They had dinner together every night, but rarely talked. No one slept well. I wouldn't call it toxic, John admits. But it's like, I'm constantly holding tension in my body, and I don't even know why. The problem is, what is this stress he is talking about? Not just emotional, but physiological. How stressful relationships affect the body. According to the American Psychological Association, chronic stress in relationships can have significant effects on the body, especially in older adults. Hypertension, weakened immune system. Digestive problems, myositis. Cardiac stress. Elevated levels of cortisol. The stress hormone disrupts sleep, memory, and metabolism. Even if the relationship doesn't involve yelling or abuse, a lack of emotional safety can cause chronic, low-level stress, the kind that will gradually wear you down over time. And what's worse, most people in this situation consider stress normal and think it is just part of the aging process. But that is not the case. You can be over 70 and still feel emotionally at peace if your environment supports it. Research may surprise you. A 2018 study from the University of Michigan followed more than 1,200 married adults aged 65 and older for 8 years. They found that people who reported high marital stress had significantly higher rates of heart disease and impaired mobility. People in emotionally distant marriages are more likely to suffer from depression and sleep disorders. Meanwhile, single older adults who maintain close social ties, friends, family, hobbies have better emotional and physical lives. Think about it. It's not being single or partnered that predicts health. It is the quality of your emotional environment. Mary's story, from caregiver to survivor. Mary, 69, is a full-time caregiver for her husband Jim, who has late-stage Parkinson's disease. She loves him deeply, but their relationship has changed. He was irritable, sometimes cruel. The caregiving was exhausting, and Mary never felt allowed to say, "I'm struggling. I stopped sleeping. My hair fell out. My blood pressure skyrocketed," she recalled. After Jim died, Mary went to therapy, something she never thought she would need. "I realized I had been living in survival mode for over a decade," she said. "I wasn't grieving for a partner. I was grieving for myself that I had lost along the way." Silent stress is still stress. Some people think that if there is no screaming, there is no problem. But the truth is, silence can be just as damaging when it's a silence that buries resentment, fear, or unmet needs. We call this emotional calm, the habit of pulling back so things don't get worse. You may feel safer in the short term, but over time, it will lead to perturbation, physical pain, hormonal imbalance, impaired ability to protect one's own needs. And for older adults, especially women, this manifests itself in things like insomnia, tired cholesterol, CIO, chronic headaches, or joint pain. Many of these symptoms are misdiagnosed as normal aging. But for some, they are bodies in need of release. What being single can bring. Let's be clear. Being single doesn't mean being stress-free, but for many people, choosing to live alone after 60 allows for take more control of your daily routine, a more peaceful, quiet home environment, emotional healing space, reconnecting with identity, time and energy to prioritize mental and physical health. As you eliminate daily emotional stress, even subtle ones, your body will begin to soften, condition, and heal. You start to sleep more deeply, digest food more easily, smile more, and it's not just a feeling, it's a biological reset. What you can do whether you're single or in a relationship. Here are 3 simple yet effective steps to reduce unhealthy stress in your relationships. Naming what is not said. Pick a calm moment to tell a truth that you've been holding back. Even one sentence can untie a knot that's been tied for years. Check your body. Ask yourself, when I am with my partner, do I clench my jaw? Do I hold my breath? These are signs that your nervous system is not safe. Microspace practice. If you're not ready for a big change, start by carving out some space. 10 minutes alone in the garden, an hour at a coffee shop, or a short walk alone. Your body will thank you. Take a break to reflect. Let's stop here. Close your eyes and observe your body. How does it feel to imagine a day when you can be alone, doing what you love, without any expectations from anyone? What will happen, peace or panic? There is no wrong answer. Information only. Your body is talking. You just need to listen. If this moment brings you a sense of relief or clarity, type "quiet matters" in the comments. Let others know that they are not alone in this journey of self-realization. We will discover another surprising fact. Being single after 60 can help you maintain your independence longer than staying in a partnered relationship. We will look at how relationships can unwittingly increase dependence, why living alone boosts resilience, and being independent can help you be better prepared for what's ahead physically, mentally, and financially. If this series helps you see yourself more clearly, please like, subscribe, and share it with people who may be carrying questions they're afraid to ask. You deserve a life that not only looks peaceful, but actually is. Feel peace. Truth 3. Being single can protect your independence. When you have a partner, especially as you get older, it's natural to fall into certain patterns. A person who handles driving, the other person manages the medicine. One cooks, the other pays the bills. Decisions are made as a unit, not individually. This works until it doesn't, because when one partner becomes ill, forgetful, or dies, the other is often unprepared, suddenly forced to relearn life skills they haven't used in decades. This leads to rapid cognitive decline, increased risk of falls, more dependent on adult children or living assistants, emotional shock and disorientation. Now compare that to someone who has been living on his own for many years. Take 74-year-old Walter, for example, who has been single since his early 60s. I cook for myself. I manage my own medications. I do my own shopping, he said. Not for pride, it's for sanity. It may take Walter longer to get things done, but he does. And what about that daily practice of self-reliance? It helps build muscle memory, mental clarity, and a sense of agency, factors that can make the difference between thriving or failing later in life. Independence keeps the mind focused. When you live alone, you can make more decisions, solve more problems, and stay mentally alert. You notice if something is wrong with your health, You manage your own schedule. You maintain awareness of your space, habits, and needs. Such gentle, continuous challenges are great for brain health. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that older adults who live independently and have personal responsibilities have a slower rate of cognitive decline than those who rely more on a spouse or caregiver. This doesn't mean you should push people away. What this means is being involved in your own life makes you stronger. But what about friendship? Let's be honest. No one wants to feel isolated. But being single doesn't mean being lonely. In fact, many older adults who live independently have built a rich and diverse support system. Weekly walking group, church community. The neighbors came to check. A close friendship that lasts for decades. These relationships are often more balanced and emotionally energizing than romantic relationships that have become boring or one-sided. As a viewer named Eleanor commented, "I'd rather have 3 people laugh with me than one person I argue with every day." That's enough said. Truth 4. Being single brings transparency and control over finances. Let's talk about a fact, but one that's rarely discussed. Money. For many people over 60, especially women, financial independence is one of the biggest potential benefits of being single. Here's why you know exactly how much you spent. You make financial decisions based on your values and goals. You don't write off other people's debts or overspending. You can downsize, move, or adjust your budget without negotiation. For older adults who have been through financially costly relationships, being alone often brings a surprising sense of relief. The cost of compromise. Susan, 68, lives in a small condo in Florida. She divorced her husband at age 60 after decades of financial stress. "He's a spender. I'm a saver." She said, "I've worked hard all my life, and I see our future slipping away because of impulse buying and poor planning." Since living alone, Susan says, she's been able to rebuild her savings, get better health care, and even travel, something she couldn't afford when she was married. She added, "It's not about being rich, it's about being stable. I know what's coming in, what's going out, and I sleep better at night." The power of financial simplicity. When you are single, you do not need to merge accounts unless you choose to. You do not need to co-sign for anyone. You don't inherit bad financial habits from others. You can tailor your retirement plan to your actual needs, not to other people's expectations. Many older adults find that conversations about money become simpler and less intimidating when they tackle the issue on their own. And that financial transparency leads to better decisions about healthcare, housing, tourism, estate planning. It's not just about money, it's about peace of mind. But are 2 sources of income better than one? Yes, in theory. But in reality, joint income doesn't guarantee financial security, especially if a partner in debt, people stop working or get sick. Spending habits differ significantly. Poor communication about money. In these cases, being part of a couple can actually create more financial instability, not less. Being single doesn't mean you're immune to financial stress, but it does give you complete control over how you handle it, and for many people, that's worth more than a second source of income. Take a breath. Ask yourself, are you actively participating in your own life, or are you relying on others by default? Do you feel in control of your time, health, money, or just comfortable? When you imagine yourself being completely autonomous, do you feel scared or excited? There is no correct answer. just honest understanding. If anything in this section resonated with you, please comment strong and solo below. Your words may be the reminder someone needs today. Truth 5. Solitude can heal, not loneliness. We live in a world that confuses loneliness with being alone. But solitude, intentional, peaceful solitude can be one of the most restorative experiences in later life. In your 30s and 40s, you may be surrounded by children need you. A partner depends on you. Job duration, care, ongoing responsibility. But what about after 60? That pressure usually goes away. And in that space, you might find something you haven't heard in a long time, your own voice. Meet Gloria, a life rediscovered gently. Gloria, 76, became a widow at 67. At first, she felt overwhelmed by the silence. The evenings are the hardest, she said. I have to reach for the remote just to fill the air. But over time and gentleness, she began to move toward stillness. She started writing again, morning walks, sitting outside with a cup of tea and expecting nothing. I realized I wasn't alone, she said. I was grieving the noise, and underneath that noise, there was peace. Now, Gloria says she wouldn't trade her loneliness for anything. She had close friendships, lunch dates, grandchildren who called, but her relationship with herself was the most sacred. Why is this important? When you spend time alone, your nervous system is reset. Your self-awareness increases. You begin to listen to your own inner guidance again. Loneliness teaches you I am enough. I am whole. I can take care of myself. And from there, every other relationship, family, friends, community becomes richer because it's no longer about filling a void. It's about sharing the fullness. Truth 6. Caring and interdependence are not the same thing. Let's talk about a difficult truth, especially for women. Many older adults, especially women, take on caregiving roles and gradually become dependent on each other. You cook, clean, schedule doctor's appointments, lighten the mood, soothe the silence, and before you know it, you've done everything while quietly disappearing. You don't resent your partner, but you resent the implicit expectation that your needs always come last. What interdependence looks like. You feel guilty about taking time for yourselves. You hide your tiredness because they need you. What did you forget, friend, like want or like? You stay not because you feel deeply fulfilled, but because it's easier this way. These patterns are not your fault. They are ingrained in many cultures, but they're also a form of self-cancellation, and that has real consequences. Being single or simply setting firm boundaries can help you regain your sense of self. You start. Ask what friend want to eat, do, or see. Say no without feeling guilty. Let others take care of themselves. Feel free instead of stuck. The problem is not rejecting love. It's about refusing to be the only one giving advice. Truth 7. Peace is a legacy worth leaving behind. In the end, we can't take much with us. Not the house, the title, or the bank account. What we leave behind is energy, how we make others feel, the permission we give them to live their truth, and we set an example of living honestly, gracefully, and wisely. If you choose peace, real peace in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, that spreads outward. Your children see that. Your friends feel it. You start becoming a free inspiration just by being yourself. Even if you've been single all your life, just divorced, widowed, or quietly question a relationship that is no longer working. Know this, you don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace. You don't have to prove your strength by being uncomfortable. You don't have to wait for permission to be happy. You don't have to carry other people's expectations when you're in your 70s or older. Your truth is valuable. Your needs are real. Your life is still yours. Take a breath. Right here, right now. Ask yourself, how would my life change if I stopped apologizing for needing space? What parts of me are still waiting to be seen, heard, and loved by me? If being single isn't a way to survive, it's a way to be memory. If you feel this message, comment. Choosing me below. No valid reason, just ownership. If this series has been meaningful to you, thank you for following along with me. Please consider share it with someone else who may be quietly questioning their path. Subscribe if you want to see more honest and compassionate conversations like this one. Comment on your favorite fact. Even one sentence can encourage others. Because ultimately, the question is not, should I stay single after 60? The real question is, what life brings me peace? And do I have the courage to choose it? You are not broken. You are not late. You are not alone. You're right where you need to be with more wisdom than ever. And whatever you choose here, let it come from clarity. Let it be filled with grace. Let it be your thanks for watching and thanks for choosing yourself.